Hello and welcome to the latest instalment of the Rangers Women's Supporters Group podcast. Car, do you want to show us what you
Well, we have the flag and then we have this because Jim wanted to see him, so I put his wee scarf on. He's not happy about it, so he will be leaving. But just for Jim, he's here just now. There we go.
Very staunch. We are joined by Car and Zeus and also Alan. How are we doing?
I'm very well, thanks. It's been a great day, so thoroughly enjoyed the day's game that we're about to talk about.
We'll talk about first how it's Alan's birthday once again and we're winning trophies, so thank you very much for that tradition, Rangers. Long may that continue.
Long may that continue indeed.
For the next, basically forever, so thank you. That's just our trophy now. We'll keep that forever. So we are obviously here to talk about the Sky Sports Cup final. We were against Hibernian at Fir Park, and it was quite a nice wee day, to be honest. So we'll get straight into it. We started with Fife and goals: Docherty, Eddie, Hill, Hay, Howitt, Arnott, Cornett, Lafay, McLean, and Wilkinson. It's been a very long day. Alan, were you happy with that team? I think it's much what we were expecting. What we said.
Yeah, I was very happy with the team. Leah coming back in gives a bit more balance at the back, and it was pretty much as we sort of expected it to be when we done the pod last week. So really encouraged by the team, and then obviously we got in the game and started very well. And I think that was partly down to how well balanced the team was, and it is actually starting to get a wee bit more settled now. So there's a wee bit less chopping and changing, which has got to be good for players.
Yeah, I think that showed in the performance as well, Car. Obviously, we're going to come to all that, but were you quite happy with the team when you seen it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Camille starting is always a positive for us. Didn't know who'd start up top, but obviously Kirsty and Wilco started, and overall the whole team was pretty perfect, to be honest. Everybody did their part, exactly what you wanted. Everybody showed up, so yeah, ideal.
Yeah, it was quite a feisty game, as it always is against Hibs Island. We had a couple of yellow cards. Well, took long enough for them to come right enough, but Camille getting stuck in, as she always does, and she got a yellow card fairly early on. But there was lots of kind of goalmouth action, tackles going in. I think the ref probably should have got control of it a bit earlier, but eventually kind of stamped his authority on it at 22 minutes.
Not like a referee take their time to stamp authority on it, but it was very much a game that you could tell it was two teams at the top of the league, two teams very close. And, I think the players had talked about being happy at being Hibs in the final because they felt particularly after the last game at Broadwood against him, they really had a point to prove. And I thought we started really, really well. And I think the fact that we made some chances early on really gave our team a lift because there was chances at both ends, but I think that helped the team stay calm, knowing that they were going to get chances. But certainly the first goal, you wouldn't have been overly surprised that it came from either team.
Yeah, definitely. It was feisty, Car. Like at one point we thought Kirsty Howitt and Siobhan Hunter were going to start having a bit of a scrap, but Kirsty got away with not getting the yellow, thankfully, but Siobhan Hunter did, and then I think that kind of helped lead into the goal, which obviously who else was going to step up and score but Wilco, 38 minutes.
Yeah, and I believe it was Ian Crocker that said that's her 39th goal of the season, which is just absolutely mental numbers. It's just madness, but sorry, I'm starting to lose my voice. I think it was all the singing and shouting today.
I wonder why.
Kirsty Howitt puts a beautiful pass into Katie Wilkinson, who shot is initially blocked, looks almost like a handball, so had this not gone in, potential penalty, but doesn't matter. Comes back off the defender and she just volleys it into the back of the net and everybody goes wild. A sensational goal. It's just what she does, to be honest. It's just unreal from everyone involved. But that pass from Kirsty was ideal.
Yes, very good, Alan. And I think it helped settle us and the team, to be honest, because we were a bit nervous going into this one with him doing so well. So I think going in 1-0 at half time kind of settled the team and the fans as well. You're on mute, Alan. Rookie mistake.
Get the yellow card out. No. think a lot of us had thought Hibs could have scored first because I've seen that happen, and the fact that we got the first goal I thought was crucial. Just before half time, but nothing stupid. We saw it out and get in at half time, one up. Obviously a chance to just settle the team down. Obviously Camille's a wee bit affected by how much she can press being on the booting, but she was still getting involved, and you could see one or two she was just holding back just a wee touch. So wasn't sure if maybe Camille would be kept in at half time because she was on the booting and it was quite so tetchy, but very glad to see Camille come back out in the second half.
Yep, she came out and she gets pretty much straight onto the score sheet car, makes it 2-0 a couple of minutes after half time. Lots of knee slides followed that.
I know, I think at this point it was absolutely bucketing with rain as it did periodically throughout the game, so I think that helped with the knee slide situation. But comes from a free kick, Wilco hits the wall, which she doesn't do very often. She tends to put these in the back of the net. Brogan fires it past the Hibs defence, who are basically doing next to nothing. They're sleeping essentially. And Camille's there just to kind of hit it off the goalkeeper, who probably should do a little bit better, and it goes into the back of the net. And she looks absolutely buzzing. I don't know if, obviously I've seen it back, but she just looks absolutely buzzing and everyone's buzzing for her. Does a knee slide and just settled everyone down. We played with a lot more freedom after she scored this goal, and we came out a bit better at that point. We just had a lot more confidence at that point. It's just tremendous to see from wee Camille, and hopefully that's a sign that she'll stay next season because she loves it here that much.
Yeah, Car's getting her signed up already, so please stay. Just sticking with Cammy the now, Alan, I think that's a couple of performances she's obviously put in and shown what she can do. So, like that kind of, she's one of the first team's names on the team sheet now.
Definitely, I think she's been buzzed ever since the group sponsored her. So she's been absolutely flying since then. Which was a genius on your part, Laura. So
thank God we didn't jinx her.
There's the assist for you, but she's really settled in well. She seems really popular with her teammates, and I'm not surprised that her teammates enjoy her being in the team because she works so hard. She's small in stature, but she's got a massive heart, and the fight she shows on the park, and it's not just about her going and being tenacious. She's got a lot of quality as well. She's got a really good ability to hold on to the ball in tight spaces, and she's well prepared to go beyond the line and actually get into the box. I think that's 11 goals now for Camille, and for somebody that's been in and out of the team and on the bench quite a lot, that's a pretty good return.
Yeah, definitely. I never realised it was that many, but it shouldn't be a surprise because most times she's on the pitch, she's scoring, so we love to see it. Next goal was a couple of minutes later, Car, and I know you really wanted to talk about this, so take it away.
Just objectively quite funny, to be honest. Obviously, it's quite sad for Kirsten Riley, who scored this goal. Obviously, doesn't play for us anymore, so obviously sad for her, but it is just quite funny overall that it happened. But I mean, how it puts the ball across goal. Sometimes when you do that, things come of it, regardless if it's our player or not. Kirsten Riley's kind of sliding in, I guess, to try and clear the ball and puts it past the goalkeeper into the back of the net. She didn't look too happy about it, but our team went absolutely mental as if one of them had scored it, which I found quite funny because initially at the time I thought Kirsty Howitt had scored it. But never mind. It comes off of Kirsten Riley, which is unfortunate for her, but put balls in the box, these things happen.
Yep, that put us comfortably 3-0 up, and then, as we expected, Alan, Camille Lafay goes off for Jodie. A well-deserved rest for wee Cammy after the performance, and then Jodie come on and just did exactly what Camille had been doing.
Yeah, listen, Jodie's going to come on, and one thing you'll always get for Jodie McClure is absolutely bundles the energy. She's tenacious, just like Camille is. She'll always go and look for a ball. She'll always be available, when one of her teammates has got the ball, and she's prepared to go and try and get forward as well. And was very unlucky not to finally get her first goal in the season as well.
Yeah, it'll come one of these days. Obviously, as Alice touched on, some more shots there, nearly put even more goals in. Then Liv and Rio come on, Lizzie and Wilco went off. they two put in a shift again, Car, as you expect. Lizzie just runs constantly until she can run no more. I think arguably Kathy and Kirsty could have went off at that point because they were kind of struggling, but thankfully Kirsty stayed on because she did score.
She did indeed. Brogan, who had an excellent game, but I thought the full team had an excellent game, to be fair. Everybody really stepped up today, but Brogan picked out Kirsty Howitt, who kind of just slots it into the bottom corner and goes absolutely mental as she does. But Kirsty's always good for a goal in cup finals, it seems to be. She really shines in these games for some reason, but it's just unreal. I mean, to be 3-0 up at that point and still going and still fighting and trying to score more goals really just shows what we're about. And I think we did worry a little bit that maybe we'd struggle against Hibs, but once we got this, it was always going to be that way, and we could have had a lot more, which is crazy for a cup final, but sometimes that happens when the team comes out to play and the other team can't handle it. We go in and do that.
Yeah, there could have been more. I think some of the decision making from players was a bit questionable at times. That, like, don't know whether they overthink it or they just selfishly try to get goals for themselves. But we could have had even more goals.
Definitely, and listen, you can understand it 3-0 up. You know, a striker's going to go through in goals and want to take a shot on, but there's an opportunity that was a perfect chance for the fourth goal before Kirsty did score. She really should have squared it for Lizzie to tap in. And you always feel the game's pretty much over at 3-0, but you know that one goal could just make the team a bit nervous. So getting the fourth goal really sealed it, and you know it was party time from there.
Mm-hmm. Yep, then Kirsty and Kathy did get a well-earned rest. On come Jane Ross and Laura Rafferty. Good to see Jane getting some minutes, Car, and I think she nearly scored as well, didn't she?
Well, she did, and
she was in a bit of the action anyway.
She was well, I mean, she sets up the last goal for Rio, you know, barely just on the pitch, and she does it. It's just, I mean, what appeared to be bringing on, you're making subs. Kathy was absolutely dead on her feet at that point with cramp. She'd just taken a gel, needed a rest, but she probably would have played through it if she had to. But obviously able to bring Laura Rafferty on, and then Jane Ross is just unreal. The players that we have is unbelievable when you think about it. But as you say, Jane comes on, sets up the pass for Rio for the last goal, and then we really were having a party at that point.
Yeah, 5-0 in a cup final was not what we were expecting. It's probably not what the teams were expecting either.
No, it certainly wasn't. You know, none of us either on the pod last week or on the predictions on the group page would have came close to predicting a 5-0 win, but the team very much had a point to prove. You know, having taken 1 point at 6 against Hibs, you know, the team very much had a point to prove, and I think they improved it emphatically. So, absolutely brilliant performance. You know, I wouldn't even pick a player of the match. I would give the player of the match to the full team. You know, we've not even mentioned Jenna, and Jenna gets a lot of stick at times, but Jenna was brilliant today, and the big part in actually keeping the team settled. Everything she had to do, you know, handling, kicking, everything was absolutely spot on, and it started through the back and right through the team. I thought the team were absolutely fantastic today. Yeah,
the defence was rock solid. Car, what to obviously touch on Leah Eddy because she was getting a bit stick, bizarrely. Obviously, I know she did leave the Hibs recently, but absolutely phenomenal. Stepped up her first trophy. She's obviously been on the losing end when she faced us a couple of years ago, so nice to see her obviously getting her first trophy, and I think she quite enjoyed that one.
I think she did, and I think when they started chanting at her, I can't remember exactly what they were saying, basically she sold her soul or some nonsense because she came to us, but that's why she came to us, to win things. It's almost like that spurred her on more because she came out a lot more at that point and ran through the midfield at one point to try and get a goal for herself, which is just, obviously, I mean, if that works and spurs her on, then I'm not too mad about that, but absolutely phenomenal. Her and Kathy beside each other was just excellent. Everybody did everything they needed to do in that back line today. It was just unbelievable, but they've set a marker now and they have to do that for the rest of the season, every game that comes up, so if they can do that, that'd be good.
Yep, so that's the third time we've won it, third one in a row, Alan, and it's not an easy thing to do. Obviously retain, there's obviously always a target on your back. Teams are going to want to come for that trophy, so it's a remarkable achievement to actually win this trophy 3 years in a row.
Definitely, but overall, that's the last 5 domestic cup finals we've reached, and with best will in the world playing Aberdeen in the semi of the Scottish Cup, it should be six in a row. And we've won 4 out of the 5 that we've been in now. And cup-wise, well, we've been absolutely brilliant. We've been ruthless when we've had to be, and today especially, we were completely and utterly ruthless. Hibs have had a brilliant season. I don't think they've been beaten since September or something like that. So, Hibs are absolutely flying, and we've completely taken them apart in that second half. And that really does set a marker for what the team need to achieve. They're going to have games against teams as difficult as Hibs for the remainder of the season, and they have to go and match that level of performance. And that starts. It'll maybe tie into a good opportunity next week to be playing at Ibrox. They'll come flying for this another game on grass. Enjoy the occasion of playing at Ibrox. On a high after today. So we really need to build some momentum, and hopefully the team selection being a wee bit more settled, a wee bit more balanced, will help us.
Yeah, definitely. We'll just go straight into that then, since Alan seamlessly mentioned the Hearts game. We are back at Ibrox next week. Tickets are on sale. I'm assuming the QR codes for season tickets and the post-split bundles will go out probably Monday at this point, once everybody's recovered from their drinking and whatnot. I don't know if the ticket office has been going to be drinking after tonight right enough, but you never know. So it should be a good game, obviously, get a good crowd in. Hopefully today kind of spurs people on to go along and support the team. It was a good turnout today as well, so hopefully if that kind of transfers to Ibrox, then it should be quite a good game next week.
Yeah, I was a bit worried about it because, we've got history of going to Ibrox and struggling, and it was Hearts who were absolutely flying at the point that the game was announced. But after the performance today, playing on grass, as Alan has said, all the stuff, I've no worries about that at all anymore. The team have really showed that they can step up when they need to, so that's helpful for the old nerves when you're thinking about it. But yeah, the crowd today was unreal. That's the best women's game, atmosphere, fan-wise, everything that I've ever been at. That was incredible. Everybody was joining in with singing and the chants, and everybody the energy was infectious. It was just unreal. So hopefully that can translate onto Ibrox on the 30th and just keep that going, and the team seemed to feed off that, so I think it does help. Nick asked for it, Nick got it, and we've gone out and won 5-0 and won the cup, so hopefully that can continue.
Yeah, definitely. Alan, obviously we're talking about the team for next week, so would you change it much from today? Do you think anybody kind of needs a rest? Maybe I think Kathy was kind of struggling, so maybe bring Raf in and give Kathy a bit of a rest.
We've obviously got the extra day with this week's game being played on Saturday. We've got a free midweek, so unless there's any actual knocks, I think the team should recover quite well. And I think having won 5-0 in a cup final, they probably deserve to keep their place. So I'd be quite happy to see the same starting 11. I don't think we've seen that enough this season. So when you win 5-0 in a cup final, I think you probably expect to start the next game.
Yeah, would you agree with that, Car?
Yeah, I think so. As you say, Kathy's maybe the only one that potentially could do a rest, but going by Instagram and whatnot, they seem to be quite fine dancing around the changing room and singing and dancing. So maybe it was just a case of cramp. She'll be fine after she has a few beverages and hydrates herself, and she'll be all right, hopefully. But I wouldn't be mad if Raf came in, but I think the whole rest of the team probably should stay the same from the starting 11 that started today.
Yeah, I don't think alcohol's a very good recovery drink, but they deserve it, so why not? But yeah, so I think unless there's anything else you want to add, we'll just leave it there.
No, as Carl says, I think it was a brilliant atmosphere today. It was an absolutely brilliant day, and listen, we could all get used to watching Rangers winning trophies surrounded by friends. So make sure you get yourself back. If you were only a sort of casual fan at the game today, get yourself down, cheer on the team regularly. You see what the girls put in it, and they thoroughly deserve their celebrations tonight.
Yeah, Definitely can't. Anything to add to that?
I'm just going to do this. The flag lives on for another season.
Sky Sports Cup winners, 3 in a row. Here we go.
Here
We'll
we
see
go.
you next time.